friends, thanks for joining me today. I have an idea about something that I want to make, and we're going to talk about that. Let's get started. We have a few road trips planned for this summer, and it got me thinking about things that I can make or put together to make our road trip journeys a little bit more comfortable or a little bit more fun. That's it. That's the whole reason we're here, is because I need to make stuff for car rides. So I did some Googling about ideas for road trips with children, and I came across a blog post. I'll post it down below if I can find it again. I didn't retain a whole lot of information about this particular post because I had my own idea for what I can make. But this post talked about a mother who made travel pillows for her children with little pockets so they could hold things like a tablet or some books or some crayons or something like that to keep you entertained in the car. And that got me thinking, what if we had a travel pillow that had a pocket for stuff that was also a blanket? Now, the reason I was thinking about a blanket is because I get really cold in the car, especially on long trips, and it's hot out and the sun's beating down, and then we've got the air conditioning coming in, and the variety of temperatures is a little too much for me. So I want a blanket. And maybe my daughter wants a blanket. Maybe she'll sleep in the car. It might be nice to have a little pillow and a blanket. So I have this thing. This is a playset made by Sago Mini, and it comes in 3 varieties. There's a doctor's office, a kitchen, and a dollhouse, and this is the doctor's office variety. And I want to show you this. I'm not reproducing this, but this is a lot of my inspiration for this project. So it's got an envelope fold here in the back, much like a pillow sham would. And you turn it, let's see if I can get that on camera. You turn it inside out, and then the other side turns inside out. And then you have a play set that unfolds, and it's kind of meant to, like, this part would be on the seat of like a couch or a chair, and then you can play with it, and it's got all these fun things. I don't need that. I don't need to remake these pillows. These pillows are a lot of fun. What if this part was a blanket? But then I thought, I need the pillow and the blanket to be able to use it at the same time. So what if it's 2 separate pieces, a separate pillow, a separate blanket, but they can all kind of fold up and store inside the pillow. So this has a seam here and a seam here where you fold it up, and then it folds onto the pillow, and you just turn the flaps over to keep the whole thing contained. Now, I have not done the bottom flap. So I want to make something like this for traveling. So one side is going to have the envelope fold for containing the blanket, and one side is going to have a flap that we can put stuff in, and then maybe like a little handle on top so that you can carry it. That's my idea. I have bought 4 yards of fabric, technically 8 yards of fabric because I'm making one for me too. I have bought 4 yards of fabric per travel pillow, and it's supposed to arrive today or tomorrow. So I need to noodle out this idea now, so I know what I'm going to do with my fabric when it shows up after I'm done washing and pressing it. So let's go to my sketchbook and draw this out. Okay, here we are, a nice blank page. So what I want is a pillow. It may not be square. It might end up rectangular. And on one side, there's going to be a little flap for the pocket. So then on the reverse, we're going to have the pillow. That'll have an overlapping set of flaps here So the blanket goes inside that. The blanket, I've decided I think the easiest way is to just use 1 yard of fabric. So quilter's cotton tends to come in 45-inch width, which seems like a decent amount of fabric to me. That's also 36 by 47 is my quilt batting. So that seems like a good length. So this one will be 36 inches across. This way will be 45, give or take. I honestly don't know the width of the fabric that I ended up ordering. And then what I would need is, okay. So 45 divides really easily by 3. So we could do 15 and 15 and 15, and then it would fold up nicely that way. But the 36 side, I could fold it in half and get 18. So that would be an 18 by 15 pillow to stuff it in. Or I could fold it in thirds, which would be 12, and that would be a 12 by 15 pillow to stuff it in. I'm honestly not sure which way is gonna work better. So what I'm probably gonna do, is like we could do a third fold like that, or we could just fold it in half. What I'm probably gonna do is put the thing together and then mess with the folds of it. Like once I have it folded up, I can't visualize the size of it. I want it to be a decent travel pillow. And my brain isn't telling me, 15 by 18 looks like this, 15 by 12 looks like this. But I think this is gonna work. So when my fabric gets here, I'm gonna throw it in the wash, and I bought basically a front and a back pattern. I sat down with my daughter and we picked out fabric, and I've got 2 yards of each, the front and the back. So step 1, wash and dry and iron. Step 2, cut the 2 yards of each pattern in half. So I have a yard of the front and back for the blanket, and then I have an entire yard of the front and back to work with for the pillow part. And that should give me plenty of room for the flaps to contain the blanket. And yeah, I think we've got a plan. And I'm just pressing the fabric to get out all the wrinkles from washing. And now I'm laying the fabric out on the drafting table. It ended up being about 41.5 inches wide, which was not quite as wide as I was expecting it to be, but it's enough that I can still work with it. And all I need to do is cut 1 yard for the blanket, and then the remaining fabric, whatever's left, which sometimes how it's cut before it's shipped to me may not be a perfect yard, which is fine. Just whatever's left is what we use for the pillow. All right, so we're all done. Obviously, I borrowed the costume shop so I could use the big drafting table. I thought that would make it a little bit easier to cut. So I have a stack of fabric for blankets. I have a stack of fabric for pillows. And let me show you the fabric that we picked out. So I have traveling gnomes. How adorable are those? And I have traveling gnomes on postcards, too cute. And my daughter chose this awesome black cat fabric, very cool. And this corpse bride, but not the movie version corpse bride fabric. This is supposed to glow in the dark, but I haven't tested it yet. But she really liked that. It's got like these rainbow slugs on it. I don't know, but that's what she wanted, so that's what I got her. So now that everything is cut in half, it's basically a yard over here and a yard over here. We are going to make the blankets first, and then I'll be able to see how that folds up, and I can design the pillow off of the folded side of the blanket. Onward! I've laid out the batting with the first piece of blanket fabric on top of it. I'm just going to line up the edges and make sure everything is nice and smooth. Then we're going to baste all around the blanket and then cut away the overhanging batting. I'm using a cotton batting that I haven't worked with before, and it's very grippy. It likes to stick to my cotton fabric, so I'm doing my best to get all the little wrinkles out. And now that the extra batting is trimmed away, I am laying the other half of the blanket on top of that and lining up the edges as best as I can, and then it's back to the sewing machine and basting the whole thing together. I have measured the completed blanket and divided it by 3. So now I am just making marks so I know where to sew down the face of the blanket. At this side, the marks are 12 inches apart. Next, we measure the other orientation. It wasn't really easy to calculate, but I managed to get 13.5-inch panels along this length of the blanket. My cat wanted to join me at the sewing machine. Now I just have 2 more straight lines to sew down the body of the blanket, and then we're going to fold it up and see if it works. Everything looks great. My sewing lines to indicate where to fold are all nice and even. And it folds up into a nice little rectangle. The last step in blanket construction is bias binding around all the edges. And then it's done. One more time, I'm going to lay everything out and see how it folds up. It doesn't really matter which side folds first. And there we are, a nice little rectangle of blanket. Now I just need to measure it so I have an idea of the size that I need to make the pillow. After doing this step, I wrote my measurements down, and then I kind of ignored that I had done it at all and just measured again when I was ready to cut the pillows. Well, it is hot up here, and I did not bring my water bottle, but I am done with the blankets. So here's my blanket all folded up. Here is my daughter's blanket all folded up. I love this cat fabric. What a great choice. I didn't think they were gonna come out the same, but they really kind of do. Like, folded up, they're about the same dimensions, which is great. That makes working out the pillow dimensions a little bit easier. So I need to account for, of course, the width and the height folded up, but also the thickness in how big I make the pillows. So I think I'm definitely done for today. Now that I've said that, I'm probably done for this video too. I think I'm going to post this as part 1, and then the pillows will be part 2. I'm probably going to take them to work so I can set everything out on the big drafting table and kind of play with fabric laying on top of thick fabric like this, so that I can see how much ease I need to add into the dimensions for the pillows. But I think it's going to work, which is the most exciting part. I'm really just kind of guessing. Sometimes sewing is experimentation. I mean, I'm having fun with this, and the blankets are really cute. The fabric that my daughter Elora picked that glows in the dark, it's like the entire skull that glows in the dark. It's really very fun. Part 1 done. It's really just kind of simple blankets, kind of quilted, but not really. I'm not a quilter. Yeah, all right. I'm tired. I had a pretty bad migraine earlier this week, and this has taken me longer than I was hoping it would take. But our first trip is in like a week and a half. So if I want this done for that trip, then I need to get moving. I think the pillows are going to be the hardest part. So we push on. Thanks for joining me. I am grateful for you. And I'll see you next time, hopefully with a completed project. Bye.